So if you have AMC Premiere, then you got The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 1 week early. So today I watched that episode, and I'm not going to be talking about the entire season. I'm not going to do a spoiler discussion of everything, but I just wanted to give you my first thoughts on it, just because I thought it'd be fun, and I know that this isn't going to be available for like a week to a lot of you. So I know there are some people that watch my channel and actually still watch this show. This is a show, I've talked about this many times now. This is a very polarizing show. I mean, there are people who are still big fans. They love it. But man, there is so much hatred for this show. So much so that I cannot believe how much they've greenlit with the hatred that's out there and with the ratings drops that they've had. You know, this show has a Rick movie for sure. They said a trilogy, but I'm sure they'll see if that one works. They have a whole brand new series coming out, a third show in the Walking Dead franchise. Then they have Fear the Walking Dead. Season 6 has been greenlit. And I think season 11 has been greenlit for Walking Dead as well. So next year, you're going to get 4 Walking Dead centric shows or movie. That's just crazy. I mean, they're like tripling down, quadrupling down on something that seems to be a sinking ship. That said, that's just the kind of the general consensus, because people either, you know, really feel that way, or unfortunately a lot of people are sheep and they see that something is cool to start hating on and they jump onto that bandwagon. But man, so I was not, to kind of reiterate and go back, if you don't know anything about my opinion on the show, I've always enjoyed this show up until season 8. And season 8 for me was almost all a train wreck. Like, I kept watching it like, are they just going to only fire into the sides of cars this whole time? Like, are we ever going to do anything? Because I remember there was a lot of complaints during like season 7 that there wasn't enough action, there wasn't enough going on, which I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum with this show. I love the slow, like, filler episodes and what. That's just character development. That's me getting to know either characters I don't know almost at all better, or characters I already know and love even better, you know, than I already know them. So I love that kind of stuff. And yeah, sure, some action here and there, and the big, you know, season finale or mid-season finale or whatever, like, that's fine. And I don't need there to be like some zombie apocalypse type freaking attack, or sorry, walkers, not zombies. But yeah, people were calling for more action. So like in season 8, they just upped the action, but the budget wasn't really all that great. So it was just them kind of sitting behind cars and firing. And I don't know, the way it all ended, the way everything, oh God, I just hated it. And I was like, oh no, Walking Dead really is dead. I'm going to jump on this hate train. Like, all right, maybe I'll give it one more chance to see what happens. And so they fired the showrunner. Season 9, you know, was being was being written by righted. I was gonna say righting the ship, not writing. So forgive me for that, because it made me sound like I was an idiot. I am an idiot, but not in that way. But yeah, someone else was writing this show, and it was like, all right, okay, cool. They hired a new showrunner. Let's see. And man, I just really enjoyed the shit out of season 9. I thought it was way back, you know, steps in the right direction. And so after season 9 ended, it had this really strong finish. The freaking spike scene with the heads, oh man, that's one of the best Walking Dead moments in the entire freaking season or series. Unbelievable. I was just like shocked, man. I was sitting there like, holy shit. And then that final episode of them like fighting against the elements and actually having to deal with snow and all that. I loved that stuff. I loved all the zombies coming out. They're frozen into the ground, this and that. So season 10 was something I was really, really looking forward to. And so I got to watch the first episode, as I said. And I really enjoyed the shit out of it. I feel like we're just continuing on that path of redemption in the Walking Dead franchise. And this is one of those things where it's like, I know there's some people that are just too far gone. They're done with the show. They're not coming back, and that's that. And that's a decent amount of people for sure. But I really hope that fans of this original series, at least, will try again. I mean, you could just kind of do a recap of season 8. I don't know where you may have left off, but if you can just maybe do a recap, I don't honestly think it was all that necessary to watch. I really just didn't like it. You can watch it for yourself. It's on freaking Netflix now, so check that. And season 9, I think. Season 9's on there too. But yeah, man, season 9 is just really, really damn good. And season 10 so far in this episode is great. So I am going to talk spoilers a little bit. I'm not going to get too crazy into this because, as I said, I'm not going to follow this up with a video next. Unless this thing has like an insane amount of views and people are like, Jason, cover every episode, please. I doubt that will happen, but I want to just talk about it. Fuck it. Why not? I've been watching now. Walking Dead is a show that I've been watching, and I think this is the longest running show I've ever watched season to season. I've been watching this show since episode 1, week to week, every freaking year. And I've never done that with a show running 10 seasons. I did it with Game of Thrones. I ran 8. But I want to say I don't almost ever do that. There's only been a few shows I've ever done that with ever, in Game of Thrones and this, and there's been others, but nothing 10 seasons long. So this is my longest running show. So yeah, I've been there since the beginning. So it's hard to talk about some spoiler discussion because honestly, I mean, there's shit that happened 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, and it's like my memory is a little hazy on that. I haven't seen some of the seasons in almost a decade, so I can't remember it all, especially how much shit I watch. But yeah, okay, we're gonna talk spoilers about this episode from here on. If you haven't seen it yet, either get AMC Premiere or see you next week, whatnot. But it's solid episode. So if you like season 9, you're gonna be very happy with where this season is now heading. All right, so spoilers. The ocean zombies in the beginning, I just thought were badass. They I've always been impressed at the level of production value and attention to gore and detail on these zombies there is. I mean, I don't feel like they ever half-ass that stuff. I feel like the people behind the scenes making these creature effects are always pushing the envelope. They're always trying to figure out what's a new zombie. Like, last season with the last episode, they had these like zombies that were like frozen into the ground as they're coming up, like their skin and everything was ripping away into the ice. Amazing. I love to see zombies fall apart because of the elements. Of course, that begs the question. It's been like freaking 10 years now. You think that these things would be like falling apart. They wouldn't even be working anymore, but it's a zombie show. You just kind of look past that stuff. Them training as like a unit, like a little militia of army. Love that. I love that they're actually getting into formation. They're learning as a community to fight together. Absolutely fantastic. I think that it's high time for something like that. And if they're ever going to actually hold their own against the Whisperers and whatnot, they do need to have a more calculated effort. And so them doing this is great. Not that this hasn't been done before in some capacity, but this is like 300 Spartan shit. I thought that Ezekiel was going to come out and be like, Spartans! It's just like they're coming through with the freaking shields and everything, and they're spearing in the air. This is full on like Spartans 300 type shit here, and I love it. And then we got this USSR satellite flying around out. I mean, the USSR has been, I think I put too many S's in there, has been disbanded for a long time now. So this thing is old as shit, and here it comes, and it's crashing down. And so then we split off into, I think, 3 different storylines that all intersect and end at the same central point of the crash. Which I really like stories like that, where they go back and they start at one point and then they work their way forward, and then they intersect and they all come to a head at the same point. So you see 3 different stories start here, fan out, and come back. Cool stuff. Really liked it. Liked freaking Dan Fogler from Balls of Fury and everything. Luke, man, he's lost a lot of weight. I mean, he's like full thin now. It was crazy. I mean, even last season he was. Could you be fat in the Walking Dead universe, in these apocalyptic universes where food is scarce and whatnot? Could you really remain fat when they're on the road? Maybe when they had the townships like they do now, maybe you could get fat. I mean, people would be like, why is he getting so much food and why am I not? Kind of stuff. I just don't feel like you could be fat. I just don't. I don't think it would be possible. Just from what they eat and everything, I don't see how they could be fat. Negan is on work furlough in this. He's kind of out there. He's picking tomatoes, and he's kind of becoming part of the little society again. But he's still, no one's talking to him. He's still an enemy of the state essentially, and people are still not forgiving of him. He'll eventually do something. Something will happen. He's going to be part of the team. That he's just setting himself up for that. We'll see when all that. I guess Daryl's let that go. I don't know. I don't know if that'll ever come back into play or not. We'll see. Probably will. Daryl finally seems to got himself possibly a romance. It only took 10 freaking seasons. I was wondering if this guy was asexual or homosexual. I was like, dude, obviously you don't want Carol, who's been eyeing you for a while. Although they are talking about running off together, but they're making each other freaking, well, Daryl makes her a friendship bracelet and like, oh, let's run off together. Let's go somewhere. She's more serious than he is, obviously, but I don't think their romance is ever going to happen. I think we all just kind of assumed it because they're, a guy and a girl, and I don't think it's ever going to happen. I mean, her thing with Ezekiel now, and that's just too far gone. And now that we have Daryl with the deaf chick, and he's got like a sign language book in his pocket. He's clearly into this chick, and she's clearly. I mean, this is 100%. Like the way the girl like nudges her, like, oh, who's that? Like, go get him. She clearly has a thing for her. He's carrying the book. This is clearly a romance. It's finally going to happen for Daryl, and it isn't Carol. And they're still respecting the Whisperer's borders, and Carol just doesn't seem to, she's like, fuck that, what's that, it's stupid. But then this crashes, and it's going to burn everything down, so they're forcibly made to go off and put this fire out. And Eugene has got this whole system set up where he's taking care of this baby. Man, I've grown to really like Eugene. I really didn't for a while. I just thought he was such a ridiculous character. I was like, this is getting too silly. This character is getting too like satirical. I find this to be almost comedic parody of sorts. And just, I don't know. I've grown to really like him since he's become a little bit more broken and pessimistic. I don't know. He's not as silly anymore. So now I kind of get him, and I kind of dig him. Especially since he's not a pussy anymore, who's like, I can't do anything and I'm too scared. Now he's out there and he's killing, walkers with the best of them. And then, yeah, I mean, as I said, the running away thing, I don't know what's going to happen with that. But then they go out and they look, and that whole valley of zombies is gone. But as they walk out, Carol gets the showdown with Alpha. And, they crossed the borders. Now, if she wouldn't have done that, if they wouldn't have walked out there, then she wouldn't have ever known that they came into their territory. They shouldn't be there, right? And they kind of fucked that up for them. Carol would have just walked back with Daryl in that moment, then Alpha wouldn't have saw her, and this war wouldn't have begun. But they knew where they were this whole time, and when they were like, oh, the mass washed up on shore, I thought for a second that was just the face Michonne cut off. I mean, it wasn't, right? But it was, she's like washed it, and the kids are playing with it, and they have a mask, and I was like, isn't that just... Michonne cut that guy's... Oh, that was a badass sequence when Michonne was just chopping heads right and left, and they were like in slow motion coming off. Cool stuff. I mean, CG stuff, but still really, really cool shot. Dug that. Yeah, I mean... And that cliffhanger type ending, I'm digging it, man. I'm really digging it. Really looking forward to the next episode. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to wait 2 freaking weeks now because I got to see this early, but I did get to see it early. Anyway, guys, yeah. So, what'd you think? What are you thinking? Are you going to check this show out again if you dropped it? Have you always been a fan? Do you disagree with me? You think season 8 was amazing? Did you think it fell to shit well before that? Where are you on with this show? Maybe you'll give it another chance if you gave it up? I think it's worth your time. If you're a fan of it at one point, I do feel like it's back to its roots. I feel like it's back to the magic that it once was. But that might not be your thing. We'll see. But let me know, guys. Adios.